Doing it. You supposed to be happy you sitting there with Kid L. Why you mad?
The Kid L Podcast.
Rocking and rolling. We have Freddy in the building, and we also have a basketball in the building. What's the significance of the basketball here today?
Oh, dude, I just came up playing sports, especially basketball. A lot of what we do at Trapper of the Year has got to do with sports. We're kind of hand in hand with sports. A lot of our apparel, a lot of our clothing is sporting goods, athletic apparel, jerseys, shirts, hats, socks, basketball shorts. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
Cool, man. What is Trapper of the Year?
Well, the company, what we really stand for is basically a love song to everybody that's grinding and hustling. And we're trying to give them, motivation, kind of like Jeezy on that, Thug Motivation 101, pushing positivity, take care of your family, handle your business, stay on point. That's what we all about.
Cool. How'd the infrastructure of it all begin?
It started about 5 years ago. I was actually let go from one of my jobs, so I had a lot of free time. And the year or two leading up to that, I had a lot of ideas going in my head. I was kind of playing with the idea of starting a clothing line, whatnot. And, the stars just aligned. And I had the money and I had the time and just went from there.
Talk about yourself a little bit, man. Are you from Michigan?
Yeah, I'm from Michigan. I was born in Detroit, on the east side of Detroit. Stayed there till I was like 2 or 3. Moved to the west side. Stayed there till I was, I want to say, around 4 or 5. And been in Inkster ever since.
Okay.
So I grew up in Inkster. I'm from Detroit, but
You guys got that flight club, man. Yeah.
I never been in there.
What do you mean?
I saw the interview y'all had with Crud Chapo, and they was telling the whole thing about they only want a certain crowd in there.
I heard that too.
And they kind of go about it, not talking down on them, but they way of kind of going about it is it's the dress code.
Well, what I've been hearing a lot of certain cities in Michigan are purposely not putting basketball courts up, and they're replacing basketball courts with tennis courts.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
I've been saying this since the mid-2000s. Garden City Park was right down the street from where I grew up at. They never had a basketball court. I used to play at the Bailey Center outside. They had a basketball court for a while till I guess they wasn't liking the crowd that was around there. Took them down. Even in Inkster. I can't remember the name of the park. The park off of Inkster Road between Michigan Avenue and Cherry Hill. Used to be great runs up there. Could find all kind of good runs up there, all of that. All the rims is gone. It's trash all over it. So that's something I noticed too. And
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of these basketball courts are disappearing, and there seems to be like a conspiracy about, why that's actually happening. And it's more so like there's a certain demographic that people have an issue with or believe that they're, whatever is going on, and that's why they're getting rid of these basketball courts. The reason that, from what I heard from it, was there was a gym, and I'm not going to name the name of the gym, but I had a friend that worked at the gym, and he said that the reason that they took out the basketball court was because so-and-so type of people were coming to our court from Detroit and from other places and causing like mayhem, and so that's why they took out the basketball court. And so I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, so you guys couldn't find a way to regulate that, so that's why you're taking it away. But the city's doing it, taking it out of their parks is fucking crazy. Like, that's fucking disrespectful at that point, you know what I mean?
And it's crazy because, anything can happen anywhere, don't get me wrong. But that's doing something productive. You exercising, you letting off steam. That's one of the only productive things that we got coming from a lot of areas that we got in the inner city or, wherever you're coming from. It's one of the only productive things there is to do, and they're taking that away.
Yeah, it's just racism, man.
Oh, I'm already knowing what it is, man.
That's bottom line. Still here to this day. Sometimes you just don't notice why. Why did that basketball court turn into a hockey rink when nobody here plays fucking hockey?
Yeah,
that's why.
Or why they never had rims in the first place.
Yeah. Back in the day, though, it used to suck, man. We used to go to a court and there was no fucking nets, though. You see that new net product they have now? It's like a magnetic rim that you put on top of the rim, and you can take it when you leave.
What?
Yeah.
They're using this at parks and stuff?
Yeah, you can buy it now. It's like it's pre-orders, but it's a rim that has a net, right? And it's magnetic. So you can go to a park and put that on top of a rim that has no net. so that way, you know, you can just take it home with you. It can't get lost. It can't get destroyed in the rain. It can't get ripped or taken by somebody. So new technology is coming to help these people.
I'm not even hip to that one. I got to look into that. That's crazy.
Yeah, talk about growing up in Detroit a little bit, man.
Well, I didn't really grow up in Detroit. I don't really have too many memories of that. Like,
so you're Inkster.
Inkster. Yeah, we moved out of Detroit when I was like 4 or 5. So I barely remember that. You don't remember much from when you're 4 or 5. But growing up in Inkster, just playing sports. During this time, everybody was outside, riding bikes, basketball, football, pick them up, mess them up, curveball, just, you know, whatever. Crashing people's courts, whoever had a rim. You know, we was on that type of time, you know?
Yeah. Talk about how growing up in Inkster led you to your entrepreneurship.
Well, growing up in Inkster, it really gave that hustle to me and that grind to me. And I feel like that's where it started at. It started when I was a lot younger, maybe 2nd, 3rd grade. I would say like my first hustle was, I don't know how old you are, but Dragon Ball Z was real big. That was a big cartoon. And we used to sit and, you know, draw that all day in class. So me and my brother's way better artist, by the way, way better artist. But, you know, we would draw pictures. We'd sell those. I know you remember Pokemon cards.
Of course.
But like when they first came out, I was in elementary school. I was selling those. Inkster really brought a hustle to me, you know? It's a small town and you're trying to make it out and make a name for yourself.
I really said you were gonna say crack.
No.
I'm just saying, man.
No.
The way
I never
you started it.
Oh no. Me personally, I don't mess with drugs.
Yeah.
That's not my bag. I'm not talking down on, you know, nobody doing that. Get your money. I just hope that, you know, you get out and make something from it, because it's a dirty game. I never sold drugs. You know, I don't got no desire to. That was never really my bag.
No,
it was around, but it was.
No, it's inspirational to hear shit like that, man. Because a lot of people do come on and they'll talk about how, you know, unfortunately, because of you're just trying to survive, right? So anybody's gonna do whatever it takes to survive, and obviously sometimes that leads you into decisions that you don't want to make, but you have to. When I was younger, I was selling comic books that I would make for like 50 fucking cents, man.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was actually making like $3 a day, $4 a day.
Yeah. That's kind of like me drawing the Dragon Ball Z pictures.
How much were you making?
I was charging like $1 or $2
Yeah.
for them, so I probably make like $10, $15 like in a week, because it take me a minute to whip them up. But you know, for like a kid in the 2nd, 3rd grade, you know, it was straight money, just juice money, snack money, you know, whatever. I wasn't really into shoes and crazy clothes like that back then. So
What was your first business that you owned professionally?
this one right here,
Really?
yup.
So what were you doing before this?
Working at the plant.
Mm-hmm.
I was working, you know, a couple like small jobs for small businesses, fast food. My first gig on paper was KFC. You know, they wasn't paying me shit, but I was just happy to have a job. This was during the recession of, was it 08? So everybody was fighting for all kind of jobs. It didn't even have to be like a high paying job. So, you know, I was just thankful and blessed to have that opportunity. But first gig was KFC. Then I worked at a small business. I worked at the dry cleaners. That was actually a straight job. I learned a lot about business from my old boss. He was a fucking asshole, but he handled business. You know what I'm saying? I never really understood him much when I was younger, but as I get older, a lot of the stuff he was saying and he was doing, it connects. And it's got a lot to do with what I'm doing now with the brand, you know?
Right, so you learned from your old jobs kind of how to get to do what you got to do now.
Yeah.
Side note on KFC, man, those mushroom, the mashed potato and gravies. The mashed potato.
You talking about the bowl, the famous bowl?
Man. That mashed potato and gravy from KFC is probably the greatest thing that's ever been created. Unfortunately, I can't eat dairy anymore, but that's one thing I always miss is that, like, how did they come up with that combination so perfectly? You know
That's a good cook up, man. We sold a lot of those.
Were you, what was your snack time like at KFC when you had your break time? Were you hooking it up or were we going outside to get food?
I was hooking it up. When we first started working there, we were getting free lunch. And then I guess, the recession came up, stuff started getting slow. They said, well, we can't do that. They was giving us, discounted lunches and stuff. So I'd ring up a biscuit or two and hook up a whole cook up. and I was eating that every day.
Is it like when you're working at those restaurants? Is it like sanitary behind the scenes? Like, if you look back at it now, knowing how you guys made the food and put it together, is it like that's solid? Like, it's pretty.
Depending on who you got working there and where it's at.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, if you hear somebody at a restaurant, it's true, and if you hear it from somebody that's working there, it's true, good or bad.
Damn.
But where I was at, I couldn't serve nobody nothing that I wouldn't eat. It don't matter how much they paying me, it ain't right. Keep it clean, keep it sanitary, because people really get sick if you're not following all that stuff.
Yeah.
So the one I was at, we were straight. It was one in Inkster on Middle Belt between Michigan Avenue and Cherry Hill. They had roaches. It was horrible. They was passing blunts around on camera. The owner knew about it. That one was horrible. Would never go to that one. Told everybody, do not go to that one.
Man. Now when you start working at the plant after you kind of do these smaller time jobs or whatever, and mixed reviews about plants. You guys are obviously making good money. You guys get good benefits and everything like that. Do you still did you maintain your job there, or did you decide to go just fully invested in your business?
Right now I'm making the shift to move towards, just working for myself. But as far as keeping capital and keeping some money coming in, I'm gonna make that work for me. And if this don't work out, knock on wood, which I know it will, then that's something to fall back on.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But you gotta have capital.
Talk about the brand some more, man. What's been the early stages of it? How's it being developed? What have you guys gotten done so far?
Okay, early starting off, we was getting traction and support more so in the form of likes and shares and word of mouth, but the sales wasn't lining up with that. But as of recently, we've been picking up in sales, and now it seems like we lacking the traction and support as far as the likes and the shares. But as far as dollar over dollar business is picking up, it is looking good.
Okay,
It is looking good.
What's everything that when somebody comes to you that they can expect to gain from supporting your brand and being a part of your brand?
Okay, well, first things first, what we represent. Because we're not going to change our values or our morals or principles to sell more products, to be more appealing. We represent for all the grinders, whatever you're doing, whether you're selling drugs, even though we don't condone that, whatever your hustle is. Take care of family, try to be the best person you could be, live right. And, as far as products, we're gonna give you a quality product. And everything we sell, nothing shrinks. That's a big selling point for us.
So your clothes can't shrink?
No, they don't shrink at all. As long as you follow the care label and you take care of your clothes, they won't shrink. The jerseys don't shrink. The shorts don't shrink. The shirts don't shrink.
Now, is there like a patented material that makes this happen, or is this like a common thing?
Nothing patented. It's, working with different materials, which takes you back to the dry cleaners. You kind of learn the properties of stuff, what's going to fade, what's going to peel, what's going to melt, what's going to shrink, et cetera, et cetera. So just, mixing and matching and doing our research and experimenting.
Have you gotten your clothes to any public figures from Michigan?
Ooh. I actually ran into somebody. I'm not going to say his name. I don't like name dropping.
That's part of the podcast.
I don't like doing that. But
okay.
he's a rapper from around here. He just blew up. I'll say he signed the Empire. That's all I'm going to say.
Babyfacey?
I ain't going to tell you who it is. I don't like name dropping. But I bumped into him at a certain establishment. And, he was cool. He was down to earth. He showed love. And I didn't have none of the product on me. So eventually I'm going to bump into him again and I'm going to make it right. But right now, nobody really public. I'm in talks with somebody. I don't want to say his name either. But I'm in talks with somebody right now. We're trying to get the business together. And then we're going to do a rollout with that.
Cool. So for you right now, you understand that this is going to be the hardest part for, right? The building up, the marketing.
Oh, yeah. I love it, though.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, though. Even whether I'm selling it out my trunk, I still do deliveries to people. We got a website. I just love hustling. It's what I'm good at.
Do you look at some of the other brands in Detroit and kind of appreciate, you got the Wealthy brand, right? You got 313. You got all these brands that are out here, public housing, right, that started from the ground up and built what they built. Do you ever look at those brands and kind of take inspiration from them?
Absolutely. It's good seeing that. And from being around here and seeing where they started, and to watch the progression, because it's different for somebody from out of state that doesn't know nothing about it, but to be from around here, be from this area, to see it and watch the progression, it's inspiring. You know what I'm saying?
Is there a particular demographic or anybody that's most engaged with you right now? Is it people from the city? Is it people outside? Like, who's mostly coming to support you?
It's right now it's Detroit, in Atlanta. We getting some traction in Toronto. One of my partners, this part of this group, he's in Toronto. He's pushing it there. I say demographics as far as like age, like around my age.
Do you guys are you in any stores yet?
No, we don't have any no physical stores yet, but we looking to do that. We trying to look into the logistics and make sure everything's lined up before we do that.
But like to even get your shirt inside of somebody else's store or anything like that?
I thought about doing that. I got a couple partners that did that. I got to look into the splits and how that work, and even what their company stands for and how they gonna push our product, because nobody's gonna sell your stuff like you sell your stuff.
Yeah, because I remember Bald Jesus had come in here and he said at first the wealthy shirts, he was putting them in a store. I forget what store it was, and they sold out. And he got a phone call from that store like, hey, we need more shirts from you guys. And that's how he knew, like, eventually after doing that so many times, like, okay, it's time to start my own store.
Right.
It's like kind of like a test run.
A tester.
Yeah, like a test run. So that's an interesting thing to do too, man. What's some things that you're feeling most accomplished about? Some highlights for you guys so far?
We got a lot of love in Atlanta when we went down to Atlanta.
Cool.
We were supposed to do a pop-up. All the logistics didn't end up working out in the end. You know, no fault of our own. Some stuff on the other side. But just picking up traction and getting love in different cities. Not even just where you from, because what we pushing and what we about it's a worldwide thing. It's a mindset, you know, but just getting love from other cities.
Right. With you working a job and being an entrepreneur, right, what's the hardest parts about it, and how are you able to manage both sides?
It's the time, the 24 hours of the day, getting to everything you need to get to. Working out, going to the gym, spending time with family, going to work, getting ready to go to work, the drive to work, driving back from work. And sometimes it'll seem like your business is taking the back seat, but you can't get it in your head that your business is taking the back seat if you want it to grow and progress into what you want it to do. So whatever extra time you got, if you get off of work, if you got a 10-hour shift, you still got a couple hours before you got to go to sleep. It's about what's important to you. How bad do you want it?
Yeah, because you can figure it out if you really care.
Yeah, if you really care and you really vested and you're serious, then you're gonna make a way.
Yeah, but it's also important too to not have, like, I don't know if your job is draining or not, but I remember when I used to deliver pizza, man, I couldn't do this and deliver pizza. Well, I kind of did, but it was super slow motion, like super slow motion.
But you got to that point where you started seeing things shifting. Mm-hmm. You said, I'm not doing pizzas no more.
Exactly. And
but you did what you had to do in the meantime.
I think I didn't even acknowledge it. I was working at this pizza place, and I knew I was becoming successful somewhat in the media area and entertainment. And I think I started getting more angry as I was being there, and then one day I exploded and I quit. And I think it was really me just ignoring the fact that I knew I needed to leave that place.
I feel you.
So you start building this tension inside of you. The more you stay in places that you're not supposed to be staying in, the more you stay even in a relationship you're not supposed to be staying in, the longer you stay in something you're not supposed to be in, the more tension builds up with you, and eventually one day it's just a catastrophe. Something happens, and you can either make a decision to pivot from that point, or you just go back into that routine of just building more and more tension into your system. That's what karma really is at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you had your epiphany. Something clicked in your head that day.
I remember I turned to my employee. I was on the phone, and he kept saying something to me, and I fucking grabbed the phone. I was on the phone with a customer. I said, man, shh. I was like, don't fucking talk to me like that, man.
I feel you.
And then that was it. It was over. I knew. I was like, I'm not coming back here no more.
I feel you. I feel that, man.
Yeah, man. Who's some supporters and who's some people that are not even just supporters, but who's running the business along with you?
I got my homeboy Shondell from Toronto, my homeboy Angelo Rebel, my homeboy Will. He actually sells shoes. It's Will Got On Mics 23 on Instagram. He can get you any shoe you need. We bring him on soon. We bringing my homeboy Josh on soon. We plan on him doing the logistics because he got impeccable attention to detail. My cousin down there in Atlanta, we're going to bring him on. My other cousin, Lil Devin, we're going to bring him on. My brother, just everybody I rock with, they coming with me. This is a unit. We all together.
What's been the most difficult parts about building this brand?
Just gaining traction and early on making the distinction between it's not so much about followers, it's more so about the money that's coming in, because somebody with 100,000 followers might be making more money than somebody with 1 million followers.
Yeah.
So as long as we making that money and we got that reach and we pushing the message that we want to push, then that's good with us. But that was a big thing for me starting out.
Right, it's engagement, right? Because you do see a lot of people with 1 million followers, but you see the really low engagement, or you'll see that they're constantly promoting a low budget sales for like a story repost or something like that.
Absolutely.
But then a guy with like 100,000 followers is charging a lot of money, and you can tell that people are really engaging and interacting and supporting that. So yeah, followers to me is a facade these days. I don't even trust that shit no more. I see so many people with 1 million followers and like 500 likes. It's just like, come on, man. Like
I was never really big on that, even since like Instagram started, because I think we around the same age.
Yeah.
Growing up, Instagram wasn't a thing. So to have a name and be known and to be respected, you actually had to be about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was never really too big on that. I never really cared too much about how many followers I got and whatnot. And as far as like reach and pushing our message, I would like to get it out to more people with more followers. But as far as like just having followers, I never really cared about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different time, bro, for sure.
Absolutely.
So now when you started off, you were selling Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon pictures. Did you stay connected with the fan base of Dragon Ball Z? Like, are you still a fan of the shows?
A little bit. I was watching Dragon Ball Super when it had just started that. When I was watching on TV when I was younger, I was watching the dub, the Funimation dub in English and stuff. One of my homeboys put me on to watch it in Japanese, the sub, where you got to read the subtitles. I know a lot of niggas don't like doing that, but that was the way it was intended to be watched. Watching it how I grew up and then watching it with the sub, it's two totally different shows.
Word.
It's two totally different shows. But that's definitely one of my favorite cartoons.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's like an anime, right? More than a cartoon?
Yeah, but more anime. Like when we was watching it on TV, we didn't know it was anime. It was just a cartoon where they was just beating the shit out of each other. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hype as hell. But yeah, it's definitely more so anime.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those are still to this day. They stood the test of time. No lie.
Yeah, it's still.
Do you listen to Detroit music?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What are you paying attention to?
Babyface Ray, 4-2 Doug, Free 4-2 Doug, T Grizzly. A lot of his earlier stuff I was listening to. GT, I listen to a lot of his stuff. I know Rio not from here. He from Flint, but he was on the Detroit scene. Free him too. I was listening to a lot of his stuff. But I listen to a lot of Detroit artists.
What do you think the most pivotal point in was Detroit music for you when you're listening to how it's progressed and how it's gotten bigger? Do you look at anything in the past couple decades that might have been like a moment of graduation for Detroit's music scene?
T Grizzly, when he did First Day Out.
For sure.
It put us in a national spotlight, and that song did numbers. Everybody was singing that. And I know there's a lot of cats, a lot of crews that was doing it before that. Blade, Juan, all them guys, they was doing it before that. But as far as like getting exposure and that turning point where people had to pay attention to us, and they got to the point where they was even stealing our sound, I would say that was the moment right there.
Yeah, it had its ups and downs too, because after First Day had come out, a lot of people from Detroit were trying to mimic what he had created. Like they went to Helluva to get the beat, then they went to Kiefer to go get the video shot, and everybody was like trying to simulate that what he had done, and it's like that's not working, man. That's why the spotlight was on us, but they were trying to create these similar sounds. But then I think it eventually balanced out after a little while. Everybody's like, okay, do your own thing. Like, really bring out your own independent sound, like Asada Baby, right? Like, just stick to your guns, stick to what you're good at, stick to being intricate and different.
Right. And
those artists stood out and continued. So it was good that the spotlight was there, but it was also like a weird time for the spotlight to be there. Like,
well, they gonna try to jack the sauce because it's hot and nobody could do what you do better than you.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're going to try to ride the wave. And, you know, it's good for us. We get more exposure. Hell of a getting more exposure. A lot of our cinematographers, a lot of the rappers. So you got to take the good with the bad. But I think people starting to catch on to that sound.
What was your first time hearing, like, the Detroit sound?
You talking about going way back?
Yeah.
Blade Icewood.
For real?
Yeah. That was real heavy. Real heavy. Everybody was trying to say they was from 7 Mile. Everybody. Every school I went to. And I knew some of the cats was lying, but Blade, definitely. I remember that. That stuck out. That stuck out.
Saying you're from 7 Mile because Blade?
Yeah, they might have some people that stayed over there. Or they might not knew nothing about it, but everybody was saying it was from 7 Mile when Blade came out.
That's a pretty cool chain. Where'd you get the chain from?
I got this from Golden Sun. Shout out to Gary, Danny, Melissa, Aaron. Aaron hooked me up every time I go there. But I got it from Golden Sun. I checked out Hutch. Was doing some, you know, comparing some prices. I went to Hutch first. You know, the numbers wasn't adding up. I wasn't really feeling it. Went to Golden Sun. They took care of me. So from now on, when I get all my jewelry made, I'm going to see them. They take care of me.
Yeah, man. Jewelry stores, there is only a few I constantly keep hearing about, and that's them and Hutch's for sure.
Yep, and they're right across the street.
Yeah, it's like a kind of a competitive thing, right?
Yeah, so I had to shop the prices because I'm not overpaying on no jewelry. I don't give a fuck how nobody feel about that. I'm not overpaying on no jewelry, no cars, or where the fuck I live. Anything else is free game. I'm not overpaying on that shit. Not like that.
Yeah, right. That my pops used to tell me that. My pops used to say, like, he'd be like, it's not how much it costs, it's how much the value is to me. Because even if something, I remember something would be like $8 or something, I'm like, yo, it's $8. We tripping about $8 for you. Like, man, I'm not paying $8 for a toothbrush.
Yup.
That I could get for 99 cents. And
Man,
like,
dollar saved is a dollar earned. You gotta stack that shit up.
I'm terrible at saving money, bro. I'm like a spender. I don't think about it, and I'm, you know, it's not like I'm making crazy money or anything, but I'm so bad with money, it's insane. I'm like, if somebody was like stealing money from my wallet every day, I wouldn't notice.
I feel you.
That's the type of person.
That just means you got a lot.
No, it doesn't mean. No, I'm just bad with money, dude. I used to be the kind of guy that like I would have $30 in my bank account and I would charge $50 that night on like a night with my girl. That's where I was at. I just don't think about money because I always know I can get it back type situation.
I feel you.
But one day you go broke.
Yeah. I feel you on that shit, man.
Now I know how Mike Tyson, like all these guys who get rich, everybody's like, oh, they were millionaires. How'd they lose it all? It's because they didn't understand or not have the discipline to manage their money.
It's a lot harder to save it and keep it there than it is to make it. It's a lot harder.
Yeah.
And you know, he's only a prime fighter in his prime for a certain amount of years, and then after that, it's like basically like somebody losing their job. And I was like, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
You know.
If they didn't legalize marijuana, bro, who knows what would have happened to Mike Tyson, dude?
Yeah. But he's such a big face, and he's such a generational talent. His face card is good anywhere. He was gonna make some more money, so it's fortunate that he got back to doing that. But just him being who he is, he good. He good. Edibles. The podcast was at Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. I don't even know what else he's into, but I'm pretty sure he's into a lot of shit.
Yeah, I think he has his own farm, like marijuana farm and shit.
Yeah. I was hearing that. Did you see the edibles?
Yeah, the ear edibles.
The ear, yeah. I thought that was straight. Yeah, I thought that was straight. That was a good idea.
I think he actually had a picture of Evander holding the bag, which is really fucking funny that they got over that shit.
And they both probably getting a split from that too, so that's straight.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't tell me those ain't sound like hotcakes.
Yeah, everybody was trying to sell. Like, and you know, when you talk about what you're talking about with your business and brand, like, remember when marijuana became legalized and it changed the whole fucking game of like how much it's worth, the value, the product, the quality.
Yeah. Once you make something legal that was illegal, the price is gonna go down because of, you know, the scarcity.
Yeah.
So now it's legal, so everybody's doing it, and there's more out there, and the quality is up and down because everybody's doing it. So it fucked up the game for, you know, all the cats that was doing it illegally or the cats that got in on it when it was green before everybody was doing it.
Facts.
Now the prices is rock bottom. So that's good for somebody if they buying it, but it ain't good for people that was, you know, making money off of it.
Yeah, because remember, every single rapper had their own weed strain out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What was that all about? And then, all right, man, some of y'all, I'm not trying to buy weed that has your face on it. No disrespect, but you're like talking about crazy shit that doesn't make me want to smoke. You know, there's a reason McDonald's picks certain meals, like, you know, the sweetie meal. It's like a good face to put behind You know,
Right.
the name, everything like that. But some of these rappers that were talking about crazy shit, I'm like, I'm not trying to smoke your weed, man. Like, you're not the type of person that I want to fucking buy weed from.
It's all about branding, man.
It is.
They got in. They found a lane and they got in.
I want to see the sales. I want to see the numbers, man.
It probably makes some good cheese off of that.
Now, with your guys' clothing line, what's the line like? How many products do you guys have? How many different SKUs do you guys have?
Well, we keep it real simple. We don't plan on getting into the cut and sew, in the jeans, maybe a little bit of outerwear, like athletic outerwear. But we keep it real simple. Couple designs for T-shirts, couple colors, jerseys, couple colors, couple designs. You know, just stuff like that. That's just how we want to roll.
Do you pay attention to like our sports teams and everything like that?
Yeah, I pay attention to the Pistons. My homeboy Will, he's a big fan. The Lions, they was heating up last year. They look like they gonna do something. They probably gonna end up letting me down like they always do. But they look like they was on to something, so I'm gonna rock with them. I'm gonna try to catch a couple games. Tigers, I'll go down to Comerica Park, win, lose, or draw. That's always a good time to me.
For real?
Especially on a nice day, like 70, 75 degrees, right before it get 80 degrees. It's always a good time.
That's the thing. A lot of people complain about baseball being boring, right? And when you're at the stadium, you're there for like 3 hours, right?
Right.
At least. So I always wonder, how the hell are you having fun at these baseball games?
Well, I guess they doing some different shit with like the pitch clock or something like that. So I guess that's speeding up the game a little bit. I don't really follow baseball too much, but I remember seeing that on ESPN and whatnot. But like I said, to me, it was always a good time. I give me a little buzz, and it seemed like the game was over like that. But maybe that's just me. I love going down there. I can't watch it on TV.
How'd you feel about our draft picks this year?
I didn't even follow the draft.
For
I
Pistons?
didn't. No, I didn't follow the draft at all.
Damn.
I didn't follow the draft at all. All I know is Wemby went number 1. Scoot went number 3 to Portland. I don't know about nothing in between. I know Scoot is straight. I don't really know too much about Wemby.
Now, can you hoop yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right, man.
What does that mean, though? Because that means you're good.
I'll play anybody for anything, and I'll meet them anywhere. They just got to show up. And if they don't show up and they have me drive out there, I'm going to be mad than a motherfucker.
Did you used to play for money?
I played for money. We used to do dollar shots. We used to do trick shots for money. You know, I'm a gambler, so.
Are you plus or minus right now with the basketball when you were betting on yourself in these games?
Always plus, man.
For real?
I'll play anybody. Where the camera at?
Every one of them.
Anybody want to play me, meet me anywhere. Bring a couple dollars. It don't got to be a lot. Just show up. And I don't recommend you bring a camera because I'm going to bust your ass. That go out to anybody.
So you should have just went to the NBA at that point.
I mean, shit, that's one of them shoulda, woulda, coulda things. Whatever I put my mind to and I stayed focused on at that time, I was going to be good at. Other things started getting my attention, and I started weighing my options, and I just went the other way.
I was at Sada's, he was running a basketball event, and it was like Scoob or something like that, or I don't know what his name is, but these two big YouTube basketball players, and they were playing for like 80,000 or something. I don't know what it was. But so does the pressure get more intense during the end? Like, when's the most intense pressure of when you're betting on yourself in a basketball game?
It ain't nothing.
There's no pressure?
I love hooping, especially one-on-one. It's just me and you. I ain't got to pass to nobody else. I ain't got to worry about no else playing D or getting reads or assists or nothing. And I just love it. I just like playing.
So the money doesn't change the intensity or the pressure for you?
No, that just means I'm going to talk shit more when I'm playing. That's all that means. As far as the intensity, nah.
So you bet on games right now for sports?
Yeah, I try to stay away from basketball. They play too many games. Unless you a cowboy and you just like that action. Mostly football, NFL, college. You can make a lot of money betting on college. NBA playoffs. If you watch who's heating up going into the playoffs and you're paying attention, or you played, or you even know the schemes and stuff, ESPN don't know what they're talking about. I think they had Miami Heat 3% chance of beating Boston Celtics. They tore them up 3 in a row. They beat them. Then it started getting kind of shaky. They dropped 3 and they beat them in Game 7.
Yeah.
Now imagine if you was on the other side of that line.
Okay.
And you took the Miami Heat.
But I called the finals. I called it 100%. I called it 4-1. I won every single bet. I didn't lose one bet. I bet once I knew the Miami game that the game they were gonna win. I bet 300.
Okay.
I bet every single game and I won every single game.
Okay. So you know what you're talking about.
I made 2 racks in 1 week off of that series.
Yeah, you gotta
like
go
2 weeks.
against with sports, you gotta go against the popular consensus because that's all Vegas and pushing lines and trying to get the money lined up so Vegas get they cut off top they vid.
Well, they're smart, man. They think because the general public, right, thinks if it's the Lakers, LeBron James is the best. Like the general gamblers can be like, oh, I know the Lakers. I'm gonna bet on the Lakers. I'm gonna bet LeBron's gonna win. But they could be matched up against a team like Denver, and Denver is gonna whoop Lakers' ass. But a lot of people, who the fuck is the Denver? Who the fuck is Jokic? They don't know these names, so they bet against. They'll bet with the people they're more familiar with.
You gotta know a dog when you see one too, because Denver been coming up since the bubble in 2020. Jamal Murray been doing what he was doing since then. He was just injured, and people was thinking maybe that was a fluke, or maybe he got injured. He'll never even get back to even being a fluke. But he proved everybody wrong.
Word up. Well, I remember the 04 Pistons too. That was like a shocker for everybody because we didn't have like an all-star. Even though we ended up having an all-star team, there wasn't a guy that was like significantly legendary on the Pistons. We didn't have like a T-Mac. We didn't have like a Kobe. We didn't have any of that, but we won with just these really, really solid ass players, right?
That was a throwback to like the bad boy Pistons. You know, I guess you could say Zeke was a superstar, all-star, but like as far as having a team that meshed together, that was gritty and played defense and really knew what they was doing, 04 Pistons was, oh my God.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a team. Nobody had them beating the Lakers. Nobody. But I think
Lakers did suffer like an injured player. I forget who.
I think Karl Malone was out, I want to say. Yeah. Gary Payton was over the hill. Kobe, rest in peace Kobe, he shot them out of it. And they wasn't playing their game. They ran a 1-2 with Kobe and Shaq. It would have been a different series. I ain't gonna say they would have won, but it'd been a different series.
Damn, you think so?
Yeah, it definitely been a different series, man. Kobe and Shaq, they had shit sold up from 2000 to going into 04, and if Shaq didn't leave, it would have been going on longer than that. But,
yeah.
You know, we won. I'm happy about that. Hometown team.
Yeah, man. Goddamn, hurry up with another one. Shit. It's crazy watching these games.
Yeah, they picking up.
When you think about entrepreneurship and, you know, the business and logistics sides of things, where do you gain most of your inspiration from?
Well, I look back to how I started, and as I get older and I look back to how I started and the principles and the discipline and the ideas that I was formulating then, it started way back then. And then a lot of the people that I bumped into since then, like my boss at the dry cleaners, he owned that place. He used to run it with somebody else, bought him out. The other guy wanted to go do something else. So I got to see what it means to run a business by yourself and what you got to do every day. This man was up at the crack of dawn every day. He was like 60 years old. He's up at the crack of dawn every day. He was reading the paper. He's making sure everything was together. He'd sneak out, go get lunch, come back, have everybody wrap it up, close the shop up, and be the fuck on. My dad put it in me too. He was real big on me stacking my cheese and my paper. He told me that when I was young. And thank God, you know, I took to that. You know, I had my moments where I done fucked some money up. I feel like we all have. But I took to that when I was young. He told me to go to work every day, work hard, you know, don't fucking cry, complain, bitch and moan. And I feel like all of that came together to kind of form like what I got going on now and going further.
Right, yeah. Learning from the hard work, right? The hard labor, the hard times, the pressure. Working for somebody else really teaches you how to become your own boss. You have to. I don't know if it's easy to become an entrepreneur or your own boss if you haven't worked for somebody yet. I'm assuming that'd be pretty difficult to do.
Oh, absolutely.
You'd have to go through it at least one time. Even Kevin O'Leary from like Shark Tank, I think he worked at like an ice cream shop in a mall. And I think one day he was being treated so bad at work, but one day they tried to make him clean like gum off the floor or something.
Okay.
And he refused to do it, and his boss demanded that he do it or he'd be fired. And he was so humiliated by it that he quit, and he like never worked for anybody again after that. He's like, I'm never working for anybody after that.
If you want to call the shots, you got to pay the cost to be the boss.
Man.
You're not going to work. You're not going to walk in the Ford telling them what they going to do because that ain't your stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's his family. They put in the work. They calling the shots. And if you don't like it, leave. And if you respect it, you know what I'm saying? Stick around. All you can ask is that you got people there that respect you. That's all.
With shirts and with merchandise and stuff like that, you know, there is a cost for you, right? You have to pay for this stuff in order for you to get it, right? It's not free. It costs money to get all these shirts, right? How do you determine, and I know this is a tough question, But how do you determine, like, okay, I can give this shirt to this person because there's a value in giving this shirt to this person?
You gotta have money set aside for stuff like that. Even if it's just not promo, even if it's just giving back. Maybe somebody you know is having a hard time and they messed up right now and they don't even got no clothes. If you got a inventory full of clothes, it ain't gonna hurt you to give out a couple pieces to look out. You know what I'm saying? Or if somebody wants to rock it and let's say maybe they got a bigger name or something, they want to rock it. Instead of being a cheap ass and charging them, just show love, favor for a favor.
Right.
Because maybe one day that favor might be returned. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. Even with me, like I have like a database in my mind. I don't think about it too much, but it's there. Anybody who ever showed me love in any type of way, like I'll never forget that. That's not something like when you do something really cool for me that I'm gonna forget. So when you do something in the future, I'm gonna see you again, and you know something good could come out of that. I remember there was a time this video director was treating me really great. Like I was at a video shoot and he was showing me love, saying how much he respects me and how much he looks up to me and stuff. And he did some stuff for me for free. And then one day I was at an event, there was a VIP section and he was standing outside and he's like, bro, I can't even, they're not even letting me in and I don't got money to get in. I said, you know what? I'm going to tell him you're my camera guy.
Okay.
And I was like, come through. And I let him and his friend come through the VIP section. They got fucking VIP backstage wristbands to come and work. And the reason I did that again is because I remember when he looked out for me earlier.
Favor for a favor. That's love, and real one's gonna remember that.
Yeah, facts, man. What's been so far for you? The part that's making this even a part where you want to progress more. Has there been anything that stands out to you that has motivated you even more to continue and to push through, even though it is tough to start off and make this shit happen?
Seeing people from our area doing it and watching it, that's one thing. And even going back to when I was thinking about starting a clothing line, I played with a lot of ideas because I've always been a hustler and an entrepreneur at heart. So I played with a lot of ideas, and when I finally stuck on this one, I just want to see it through, and I want to see it play out how I see it in my head because I think about this every day. I see it every day, how it's going to play out, how it's going to feel. So when I get there, it shouldn't be much of a surprise. I just want that feeling, and I want to finish the job. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Is there anything you want to promote before we sign off?
We got basketball jerseys. We got basketball shorts. We got hockey jerseys. Unfortunately, guys, we all out of T-shirts, but I got a new batch coming in about 3 to 4 weeks. One more thing. My homeboy, Dude, he's got a clothing line, too. It's called Never Change Global. He did a basketball classic in Inkster last year. He's doing another one this year. I forget the date. I believe it's August 26th or August 27th. But we'll be out there. We'll have some vendor space. He'll have some vendor space. Y'all come out, enjoy the games, support the businesses, and show love. It's going to be a good time. For sure, man. Appreciate you being a part of this, man. You got me a shirt. I got you all kind of shit. I got you a gang of shit. Yeah. I got you some jerseys and some shorts. Fire, man. That's legendary. I appreciate you bringing that over here, man. Really look forward to seeing where you take this brand, man. It is a fucking sweet-ass brand. I really like the name of it. I like the meaning that you explained behind it and everything. I appreciate it. You even as a person, man, it's good to have a very level-headed person, very educated person coming around and sharing a good message with a cool-ass brand, man. So it's a pleasure to have you on. We're at Parallel Sound Studio. High-Low Visuals is shooting these productions. Can you palm a basketball? No. Unfortunately, I can't. That wouldn't be fair to everybody else. I'm already Michael too damn Jordan. Good. We're out. Peace.